The high school sports meet is brought to you by Alfred State College, where within 6 months of graduating, an astonishing 99% are working or furthering their studies. At Alfred State, they stress project-based learning, where students work on real-world problems and learn how to think, not what to think. Visit alfredstate.edu.
Sports. It's who we are. It's what we do. It's how we roll. It's wins and losses, highs and lows. It's effort, respect, and dedication. The high school sports beat. Sports. It's who we are.
Hello everyone and welcome to the High School Sports Beat brought to you by Alfred State College. I am Dave Yates. We begin our look at Section 5 sports with our opening story brought to you by Sticky Lips Barbecue and Juke Joint. Sticky Lips Barbecue Juke Joint, New York State's largest barbecue restaurant right here in Rochester. See our menu and live music calendar at StickyLipsBBQ.com. Sticky Lips BBQ, Jefferson Road in Henrietta. We begin this week with a look back at Brighton's Scott Lazeroff. Now in his senior season at Auburn University, Lazeroff has established himself as one of the top divers in the country as a three-time NCAA All-American. And it all started with the Barons. From March of 2015, here's Bill Pucko.
Most sports these days offer the opportunity to participate year-round. Diving is no exception. Upstate New York Diving, based at RIT, claims 60 members, including Brighton's dynamic duo of Scott Lazeroff and Corey Neese, the top two scoring divers in the just completed high school season. Neese finished fourth at States. Lazeroff won them.
It was fantastic. It's all that I expected. I went down there, I did what I had to do, competed well, and I just came out with the win.
Yeah, you were third, I understand, preliminary, and it takes some good fortune probably down there too. What put you over the top?
Just consistency. Just nailed all my dives that I had to do, and it just came down to the last dive, and it went well.
Well, from the minute he walked in the door, I had him do one front jump off the side, and I said, this kid's going to be great. Really, I could tell right off the bat, as soon as he walked through, he was going to be an amazing diver.
Lazeroff's graduation leaves Neese behind as one of the favorites to win States next year. He was the highest finishing junior, but he'll have to win without his sidekick.
He's been doing really well. He's been striving really well. He's been working really hard. So, I'm keeping up with him a good amount. I'm at about where he was last year, and so I just hope I can keep going like he did.
In this last year, both of them have improved significantly. Not as much in terms of their diving, just because they're starting to max out what they can do on 1 meter. They're both growing in terms of 3 meter and platform, but at 1 meter level, they're starting to max things out. But I saw them mature a lot as athletes and really start to perform both in practice and meets at a much higher level.
With the success of her divers, Brighton assistant coach Maggie Thomas Freeberg was afforded a rather unique honor. She was named the Class B Section 5 Coach of the Year. She now assists Cliff DeVries at Upstate. DeVries is a story himself. A championship diver at Rush Henrietta, he had surgery in 1995 to remove a tumor that left him without use of his right side. Undaunted, DeVries runs the club 52 weeks a year and still teaches the craft.
It's a challenge for me and a challenge for them, but a lot of it involves visualization, mental preparation, all the stuff that I learned when I was diving. I can still bring them, and I bring them over and I beat on them. I put them in the right position. I grab their hands, I grab their legs, and push them where they need to be. And so I'm still able to do a lot of hands-on stuff. Hey guys, a couple things. I'm noticing a lot of loose shoulders and hands. I need the shoulders and the hands to be a lot tighter going in the water.
Lazeroff, meanwhile, leaves Rochester on scholarship for the land of cotton and college football. Auburn, Alabama, with its average annual snowfall of 0.7 inches.
I definitely heard a lot that it's definitely different down there, but it didn't really stop me from the decision that I made. It was warm and there's no snow, so I like that.
In 2016, Lazeroff was a finalist on the platform at the Olympic trials. Well, coming up next, Paul Gotham joins us for the Duncan High School Notebook. We've got that and more when the High School Sports Beat, brought to you by Alfred State College, returns.
Make a Dunkin' run for a $2 pick-me-up and avoid the afternoon drag.
Should have got one for John.
Yeah. Sorry, John. It's okay.
Get a $2 medium cold brew from 2 to 6 p.m. Try it a new delicious chocolate cherry. America runs on Dunkin'.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the High School Sports Beat, brought to you by Alfred State College. It is time now for the High School Notebook, brought to you by Duncan. America runs on Duncan. And as always, we are joined by Paul Gotham from pickandsplinters.com. And Paul, spring is in the air, and that means baseball. What else is on the website right now?
We'll have all our full baseball coverage coming, which will be great. John Lecongier and myself will be getting out there covering games, get full game articles from that. Watch for us to have some softball material, some softball games covered, and Kevin Aklubja, Hall of Famer writer for the Amherst, and the Amherst are playoff bound, so it'll be great to see Kevin's coverage of the Calder Cup playoffs.
So talking about baseball, it's early in the season, but still a lot of marquee matchups coming up right out of the gate.
It's first full week of action, and there are going to be plenty of games that'll let us know, at least give us indications of what's going to go on in the sectional, starting right away with Victor and Schrader meeting on Monday. Schrader, of course, a couple years removed from that run to the state finals. They had Shane Marshall and Phil Ferrante leading that group. And the roles have changed there. The names have changed, I should say. You got Jack Willard as a good starting pitcher for Schrader. Tommy Wynn, and you got the Vogt brothers, Alex and Nick, leading Matt Knight's crew. Against that Victor squad, last year they went to the state semifinals, so you have a pair of, two of the last three sectional champions going at it on the first Monday. That really should be a great tip-off for the year. A game to watch, though, is Webster Thomas is meeting Churchville Chili on that day. Churchville Chili returns Guy Puglia in his second year there, returning 7-8 players who filled in significant roles last year, and they won't be just playing roles this year. Those guys will be big-time contributors. You know, you got a kid like Jake Carroll, you got Ethan Putney, you got Joey Puglia, and you got Jaden Alomes. Those guys, Churchville will make some noise. They'll knock somebody off in Class A1. I don't know who it's going to be, but depending on the matchups, they'll be a good team. And over at Webster Thomas, Kevin's team there, Kevin Neenan's team, you got Devin Mulcahy returning to that lineup, and you got Caden Hahn returning to that lineup. Webster Thomas is always a threat in AA, and it won't be any different this year. So those will be two nice games to start off the week. End of the week, School of the Arts and East will be playing. East is in an unfamiliar role. They're not the favorite in the RCAC, and School of the Arts, Ross Janasic he'll be a prominent player for that School of the Arts team. I figure School of the Arts will be in the thick of it, if not the champion of RCAC this year.
Always fun to see, but it's always like so early in the season. You never know who's going to get hot late and when they really need to.
Well, and when you look at a team, like a Webster Trader. Jack Willard is the type of a pitcher. I mean, last year he gave Matt Knight, I believe, 3 or 4 complete games. You put that on the mound, and that all of a sudden, that can change everything when you go out there and have a good performance from a kid like him. And so those will give you those early indications of who's going to be pretty good come sectional time.
All right. Great stuff, Paul, as always. Thanks once again. We're back with more of the High School Sports Beat, brought to you by Alfred State College, right after this. Coming up next, the Making the Grade nominee with Kyle O'Gara, and later, chasing the Major League Baseball dream for Stephen Klimek. And the High School Sports Beat, brought to you by Alfred State College, continues.
Welcome back, and thank you for watching the High School Sports Beat, brought to you by Alfred State College. Hit the ground running at alfredstate.edu. I'm Kyle O'Gara.
Making the grade this week is Our Lady of Mercy sophomore Kristen Johnson. Kristen is a co-captain for the Mercy lacrosse team and has been a starter on the team for 3 years. Since the 2017 season, Kristen has racked up an impressive 68 goals, 53 assists, and 108 draw controls. Her athletic accomplishments don't stop there, as Kristen has made both the Section 5 All-Tournament team in 2017 and the Section 5 All-Independent team in 2018. Off the field, Kristen has made the academic scholarship role every year since 2014. In addition to her impressive grades and athletic performance, Kristen has also volunteered for Food Link, Angels of Mercy, School 28, Bethany House, and the Salvation Army. This week, Kristen Johnson is making the grade.
If you have a student in mind for our Making the Grade segment, we want your nominations. Send them into info@classywolf.com. And now here's Dave with the McArdle Section 5 Spotlight.
Thanks, Kyle. Here are some of the athletes, teams, and coaches making news in this week's Section 5 Spotlight, brought to you by McArdle's in Fairport. Come home to McArdle's. Avoca Baseball won its first game of the year, beating Canisteo Greenwood 3-2, marking win number 1 for Coach Denny Miles, not counting the 718 victories in 42 years at Wellsville. A new beginning for the Hall of Fame coach and the Avoca Tigers. The Spencerport girls lacrosse team opened the season with a 16-13 win over Corning. The Hawks made it close, but the Rangers held on thanks to 4 goals each from Natalie Choate and Lily DePalma. Aaron Kuykendall added 2 goals and 5 assists. And finally, Medina Baseball sent a message at the Mustangs baseball tournament, beating Holly and Oakfield, Alabama by a combined score of 38-1. Medina begins the year 3-0. Well, up next, the journey of Stephen Klimek from Greece Arcadia to St. Bonaventure and beyond, when the High School Sports Beat, brought to you by Alfred State College, continues.
Came now to Eichel. He floated one. Score!
Welcome back, and thanks once again for joining us on the High School Sports Beat, brought to you by Alfred State College. I'm Dave Yates. This segment is brought to you by the Injury Free Coalition and our friends at Leo's Bakery and Deli. Please remember to always wear your seatbelt in the front and back seats, and to focus only on driving when behind the wheel of a car. This message courtesy of the Injury Free Coalition for Kids Smart Teen Driving Program and our friends at Leo's Bakery and Deli. We first profiled Stephen Klimek in 2012 when Stephen was a standout for Greece Arcadia and one of the best hitters in Section 5. Today, he's a pitcher in the Baltimore Orioles farm system. Here's Paul Gotham with Chasing the Dream.
You'll have to excuse Roger Klimek if his mind seems somewhere else. While putting his Greece Odyssey baseball team through the paces of preseason work, the 23rd year coach may be thinking about Florida and his son, Stephen. Stephen Klimek, Baltimore's 33rd round pick in the 2015 MLB draft, is entering his 5th season in the Orioles system.
You know, we sit on the porch at home and listen to games, and we stream games, and we go watch as many games as we can, so it's just been a riot. It's been a blast.
Father and son. Roger once was the coach, now has moved into a new role when talking to his son about the game.
We still have some of the same discussions, although I've kind of learned sometimes when to discuss it and when not to discuss it. You know, I mean, it's basically his job right now. So, and there's guys up there that know a lot more about it than I do. So I'm more of a support system and, you know, somebody he can bounce some things off. And, you know, we don't really get into too much about why'd you throw a fastball instead of a curveball, although that has happened at times. It's just I kind of pick my spots.
One thing hasn't changed, Stephen's work ethic. He earned the reputation as a hard worker at Greece Arcadia. He has carried that approach with him to the pro game.
Right. There's probably nobody that works harder in the Orioles camp than Steve. There's still a lot of guys up there, believe it or not, that could work a lot harder than they do. They've just been blessed with these things, with these physical specimens and these freaks of nature that can throw 98 and really don't do a heck of a lot in the offseason. But then again, there's also a lot of guys that do. You know, there are plenty of pro baseball players that work very hard. But I think it's benefited him in the fact that, you know, it's gotten him to the point where you know, he's really been injury-free. He had one little, you know, sore shoulder at the end of his third year in pro ball, but he's been healthy and he's been able to compete where other guys have missed so much time. He really hasn't missed a day in all the years in pro ball. So I think that's the case. You know, unlike high school, they really don't. If you're performing on the field, no one cares how much you work off the field. It's show me what you got. But I think in Steve's case, he survived that long because, like you said, right, he wasn't this superstar in college. He got to where he is by his hard work, and hopefully he still will.
It's not surprising because of who he is and what he did and how hard he worked. And I think that was always his goal. And, you know, intrinsically he had that within him. His dad was his coach. I mean, I was his varsity baseball coach, but you get a kid like that who loves baseball, it made it easy. So he was always driven. It's not surprising.
That work ethic has served the younger Klimek well. His junior season at St. Bonaventure, he compiled a record of 3 wins and 7 losses. Hardly what one would consider as professional potential. That didn't stop the Orioles from selecting him in the draft.
He didn't have a very good year at all at Bonaventure, but I think, you know, enough of the scouts, like they say, I mean, it's kind of like I try to tell my high school kids, you could hit 700 and you may not get a scholarship or you may not get drafted. It just really depends what they project you out to be. And I think that's what it was at Bonaventure, was they saw a good-sized kid with some life on his stuff and a good curveball, and, you know, he had the numbers, and, you know, the Orioles took a chance on him.
I think my personal opinion is Steven was one of the best hitters I ever coached. But when he got to college, he saw that, and I thought he could have played there like a position. But I think he saw that his greatest opportunity to move on to the next level was to pitch and only pitch and get better at that. So, you know, for a kid that to be mature enough to see that, I thought that was one of his greatest assets. And concentrating on that, you know, and throwing at the velocity he threw at by the time he got out of college, I think that's what got him drafted.
This season will be an adjustment for Stephen Klimek. With Mike Elias hired in the offseason as general manager, the Orioles have taken an analytics-based approach.
You know, with new regime coming in, and they're changing his pitches around. They want 4-seam high fastballs, and he's been throwing 2-seamers down in the zone all his life. So last year he got to go up to like 10 major league games. He got to pitch in one during spring training, and, you know, this year it's pretty much at the minor league camp, toiling, working on trying to perfect this new pitch and, you know, throw more strikes than he did last year.
Klimek is one of 10 former Section 5 student athletes who are currently playing in affiliated baseball. He joins Chris Bostic from Aquinas, North Star Christian's Victor Cavallari, Brighton's Ernie Clement, McQuaid's Greg Cullen, Pal Mac's Cody Eckerson, Webster Thomas's Logan Harrista, Pittsford Mendon's Danny Mendick, and Canandaigua's Adam Scott. That list does not include Irondequoit's Cito Culver, Pittsford Sutherland's Grant Hyman, and Fairport's Connor Simonetti, who will start the season playing professionally in independent leagues. What is it like for the kids now who are playing on the team when he comes back? What are their responses? How is it like to have him around?
Well, I got a couple of his baseball cards that hang around my room. I got like this little shrine to baseball. So his cards are on there. When he comes back, I think the kids are intrigued. They're almost like in awe or intimidated by him, but they don't have to be because he's a real person. So he definitely relates to the kids. You know, he's just like an average Joe in regards to like his mindset. But the kids definitely look up to him, for sure.
For Roger Klimek, his son's success has dictated a decision of his own.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I'm going to retire at the end of this year. It's too much fun going down there, watching him play, and you know, and when it's freezing here and it's 80 degrees down there. So that's one of the reasons why this is going to be it for me.
From Greece Odyssey Academy, this is Paul Gotham with the High School Sports Beat, brought to you by Alfred State College.
We'd like to thank our sponsors, especially Alfred State College, for making the Sports Beat possible. We'd also like to thank the athletes, teams, and coaches in Section 5. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next week.
Got to raise their hand. The ball gets paired. Work, let me hear it. 1, 2, 3. Hard. 1, 2, 3. Hard. Let's go, boys. Move over now, kid. Do a job here, rock. Let's go, kid. Anyway, I know.